Welcome to Holding Space with Authentically Amy. This is a place where you don't have to perform, prove, or hold it all together. You're allowed to exhale, to feel, to speak, or just be. Here, your truth is safe, your emotions are honored, and your soul is gently invited to the surface. I'm not here to fix you because I don't believe you're broken. I believe your soul already knows the way. My role isn't to give you advice, but to hold a steady frequency of love so you have space to rise. This podcast is an extension of my own healing. If you're here, you belong, and I'm honored to sit beside you. Welcome to another episode of Holding Space with Authentically Amy. I'm your host, Amy Thurman, and I'm so honored to be here. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and for tagging along for another episode. I am excited to have Amanda with us today. Amanda, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me today. I'm enjoying talking to you and just getting to know us better.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is all about holding space. So I just want to offer an opportunity for me to hold space for you to talk about whatever might feel heavy on your heart today that might help to talk about. So I would just turn it over to you and allow you to talk about whatever you feel like you need to talk about today.
Okay, well, I like to talk about the state of health because I was an obese teenager.
Oh,
So back when I was a freshman in high school, we had to do what they call the Presidential Physical Fitness Test. And at that time, we had to weigh ourselves, and I weighed 199 pounds as like a 13-year-old girl.
mm,
And, at the time, you can tell that I was tired. I was, looked in the mirror. I didn't really like what I saw. I didn't feel well, but I was like, I'm just going to keep pushing on. But when I actually saw that number on the scale, I was just like, something has to change. I do not want my weight to keep going up. I had already at the time decided that I wanted to become a physician. I was like, no one wants to listen to a physician that is overweight and unhealthy, not caring for themselves, then go on and
mm.
tell them that they need to care for themselves. So I was like, okay, what can I do? And I just started exercising because I am a person that just like loves to like sit and read and just kind of sit in the background and just like observe everyone else doing those. That was my attitude at the time. And from there, I was just like, okay, I'm just going to get myself moving more. So I always joke with people. I was like, if you ever watch those infomercials in like the late 80s, early 90s of those different exercise equipments. I was getting those different things like the
Yeah.
roller, the thigh master, all those different types of things.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
so that was me. I was like, what can I do? Because at the time I didn't think of like just simply going out for a walk. I was like, I would see those infomercials like, no, I need this to actually, get start exercising and get fit. And even those I remember now like this machine that I had to get. Well, I didn't have to get that. I got that was like electrical impulses to your stomach, so you can like try to get that six-pack abs. So these are
Wow.
yeah, these were different things that I was doing to try to get fit and get in shape. So I can actually be that example for my future patients. And I think that also stemmed from, having a doctor at the time that was severely overweight. And then him telling me when I was a little bit younger than that I need to do something to like get in better shape. Like I remember him telling like my parents this. And I was just thinking, like, why in the world would you say that to a young girl? And then
Mm.
look at your, self there. Not to judge him, but I was like, I didn't want to be that person. And then someone look at me and like, you're not even caring for yourself. What else can you do? So I take that responsibility very close to my heart. Like, um, what I need to do to care for myself to then in turn be an inspiration for others to care for their health because our body is very important. If we don't treat it well, then in turn, it will not treat us well. So we won't be able to do the things that we aspire to do. So, yeah, so going from being overweight as a teenager becoming more active, and then becoming a vegetarian at the age of 16,
Wow.
because I was like, okay, what else can I do to help become healthier? And it just stemmed from an idea, like I was looking at in our cabinet at the time, like, what can I eat here? And it was just like some canned vegetables. So I was like, okay, let me just start, see how long I can go without eating meat. And it just stemmed from there. And I have not eaten meat since I was 16. And it
Really?
is, yeah, it's funny because at the time my father was a meat delivery truck driver.
Oh my
So
gosh.
so in the time we had like hot dogs, bologna, sausage, bacon, ham. These are the things that, he sold. So we always had this in our house. And I grew up in Indiana. And so at that time, vegetarianism was not, big, especially in Indiana.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it was very different to see. But it just seemed like it was a calling for me at the time. And then looking back here, I definitely know that that was the case, because again, I just wanted to be that inspiration for others that wanted to live healthy. And then deciding on to become down the road a lifestyle medicine doctor that actually really focuses on things that you can actually change in your own lifestyle to help with your health and well-being, and not just like medications and things. So it's just been a few decades of a journey in my own health and wellness, to then go on now to share it with others, not just from the doctor standpoint, but from actually having cared for my own body, and yeah, just continuing on.
I had to cough right as you finished there. That is amazing. And one of the things that jumped out at me when you were sharing your story is how it hit you, the reality of it hit you when you saw the number on the scale. Like you knew it. And I think this happens with a lot of us. Like we know it kind of instinctively and underneath the surface, but it takes something to make it a reality to us
Right.
for us to actually do something about it. And it was you seeing that number on the scale. And I think people go so long knowing they need to do something about it, but then something happens that makes it a reality to them, and then everything shifts. And so I think that's a beautiful, beautiful part of your story because it's so relatable to so many people.
Yes. And I tell people that I don't know if the number would have been like 190 or if it was like 201, that it would have made such an impact. But because of that right there on the line, from the first number changing from 1 to 2, I think that was what really like took hold of me. I'm sure I was weighed before, like I said, going to the doctor's office and things of that nature, and being told that you were overweight. But it was just that, like that line in the sand that you're like, once you go over, that's, it's not like you can't go back, but it's just like a different defining moment at the time.
Yeah, and it's like, I believe everything happens when it's supposed to happen, and before that you may not have been ready to step in and make a change. Like it
Mm-hmm.
seemed to happen when you were ready to take charge of it and to do something about it.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So we
Yeah.
definitely have the charge to take care of our own health. And when you're ready, like you said, it'll hit you, and you're like, okay, this is the moment that everything has to change.
Yeah. I see people because I have quite a health journey that I have been on as well. And so I talk to a lot of people who really want to do something about their health, but they start and then they just fall out. Like it's just they stop. And I feel like they're just not ready to make that commitment. Either they're not
Mhm.
taking it seriously, they don't understand the impact that it has on their whole body and their whole life. And it really is about timing. Timing plays a huge role in that. Do you find that with your patients?
Yes, it is, because sometimes you just have to plant a seed. Like, even though it's like you may start and stop, it may be like, okay, yeah, I did this, but maybe my dedication or I actually tell people was more of a conviction for me. So therefore I couldn't go back. So when
Mm,
you actually have that deep, deep within you, then it's like, I don't care if it feels like I'm not perfect on this journey, I'm going to keep going. And I think that's where a lot of my patients and clients may actually feel like, well, if I'm not perfect, then there's no need to do it at all. And that's not the
Oh,
case, because
yeah.
my journey was not a linear line. It was not, perfect along the way, and it's still not. But just the fact that I'm like, okay, I'm still not going to go back. I'm just going to keep going. Every meal is a new meal. Every day is a new day to exercise. Or every hour, really, that you're awake is another time that you can go and exercise. You can decide to drink water. Whatever you do, you have that choice to continue on, and that knowing that no matter what, it's not necessarily a failure, it's just progress, and you can just keep moving forward.
Oh, I love that perspective that every moment is a new moment, not just every day, but every moment is a new moment. And yeah, I have been on a health journey myself. I mean, like I said, but I've also been on like a weight loss journey, wanting to do it more naturally, not using the all of the things that we hear about these days, but do it in a more natural way. And I have definitely had to start over many times and many moments. And
Mm-hmm.
I've loved to walk outside, and there are days that I just can't, my body, I just can't do it. And
Mm-hmm.
instead of feeling guilty about it, making myself feel guilty about, Dad, damn, you missed the walk again. It's exactly what you said, that, you know what, I have a new moment. I can start right now, or I can start
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow. I can start in this moment. And that
Yeah.
can be so powerful and freeing for people.
Yes, yes. And that is what we call, well, I tell people, giving yourself grace. That if we feel guilty, then we're going to feel some more stress, which does not help, especially with health. We don't want that chronic stress that builds up. And you can say, okay, yet, so, that moment is behind me. I'm just going to move forward. I give myself the grace to move on, and I will be just fine as long as I take advantage of this moment.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. So beautiful. And, people tell me this a lot, but it applies really to everyone, that people tell me that I serve as a permission slip to help others become more authentic and vulnerable, because I
Mm,
am authentic and vulnerable. And people have said, because I saw you being authentic and vulnerable and the world didn't end, your world didn't end, then it gave me, it helped me learn that I could be authentic and vulnerable too. And I see that with you, like you, because you went through the journey, you did what your body needed to do, that you can serve as a permission slip for others and help them understand that what works for you is not necessarily going to work for them. And I think
mm,
people get hung up there a lot. My friend did this and it worked well, but it's not working for me.
yes. And with that, I love that you say that, because I've been like on so many different like platforms looking for different things to do. And like I said, it's not one thing, it's usually a combination of different things that people have said or instructions that I've been given to actually piece it together for my own. And that's what everyone should do. Like, not one person's going to have every single answer for you. You're going to take a little bit from everybody and make your own journey, and that way also it's freeing, because you don't have to be like, well, she told me to do this and this doesn't work. But if you take what she said and what he said and what they said and pull it together in different little parts, your puzzle comes together. And that also gives you permission to have your own journey, and feel like you're empowered to make the decision, and not like someone else is forcing their opinions on you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And what I see, and I'm curious if you see this too, with people these days seem to be a lot more aware of how their choices impact their body and their life, whereas I think, like, decades ago, people just did what they did, they ate what they ate, they didn't think about, I think they just maybe weren't educated, didn't have the awareness and the understanding. But there's so much more information out there now to help us understand, that I feel like people are more interested in becoming a more healthy version of themselves all the way around.
Yes. So you get information. So I hear people, say that they have heard certain things and like wondering if it's true. So sometimes they get information overload, if it's the
Yeah.
same thing. But because our eyes are now open, you actually have access to more information that definitely can empower you to make different choices. I always tell people, look at the foods that you're eating and how much impact that makes on your actual body and your health. And now that we know of how marketing plays a role, and the foods that we actually see and eat is huge, especially in the US. compared to like other countries where it's like they have to be very open about like what foods can cause certain things, and we don't necessarily have that. But because have access to the World Wide Web and everything, you can actually see how different foods and different ingredients in foods can impact your health, and sometimes not necessarily for the good. And then you have that choice to decide if you want to take that chance or not. And again, it's a journey for everyone. It's not that you have to be perfect. Because like I said, I grew up with a lot of processed meats, and then later on found out that, hey, processed meats can lead to cancer, and cancer's in my family. And I decided, well, maybe I shouldn't eat processed meats. And that's just my own, conviction again there that I decided not to do. And if you choose to, continue to do that, that's perfectly fine. That's your choice. Like you have that right to do
Yeah.
that. And I feel like, yeah, a lot of people, they know that now. And then just knowing that certain foods can lead to, good or not so, like I say, helpful or unhelpful outcomes. More
Hmm.
people are likely open to hear, like, okay, maybe not change immediately. Again, like just planting that seed. I always tease my patients with bacon because I can't stand the smell of bacon anymore.
Oh,
But like, okay, so we can choose if you want to have your bacon every single day, knowing that it's a processed meat, that it's high in sodium, and that it may be contributing to like your high blood pressure or your high blood sugar. And you can just see how it impacts for you and see if you want to try to maybe decrease it, maybe not every single day, just like giving them seeds like that. And they're like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll consider. And then they'll come back and tell me, when I was picking up my bacon, I thought of your voice, and I was like, do I really want to eat this today? Not in a shameful way, but just in an informed way about their health. And like, okay, well, maybe I'll pass on it today. Or no, I really like it today, so I'm going to go ahead and eat it. Just so you have that informed choice. And that's what I really want people to really hang on to, that like as long as you're informed about your own health and not just blindly going into something, then you're going to be better off in the long run for your own well-being.
yeah, yeah, so true. I feel like some of our listeners, those watching, might also be wondering, like you grew up in a house that ate meat, like that was readily available to you, but you chose not to. That was a decision that you made. And so a couple of things, was your family supportive in that? And if people, I because I can see where people would want to change their health, would want to change the things that they're doing, but maybe the people that they live with don't want to make those changes. So I have been there. That is difficult.
Yes.
So first of all, what's your experience with that, and how do you guide people in that situation?
Yeah, so I was like, I don't know if I blocked that out of my memory or what,
Yeah.
like if or not they were supportive at the time. My gut is telling me that they're like, if you choose not to eat that, good luck and find what you're going to eat. Like I'm not going to be trying to figure out what you're going to eat.
Oh.
So I do remember initially in my journey that I would eat the food that my mom would make and pick the meat out. So so that's where I believe I first started. Like if we got something, say like a pizza or something like that, then I would just pull the meat off the pizza, like the sausage or the pepperoni, whatever they would have gotten, and then I just didn't eat the meat part. I do remember that.
Yeah.
So that probably was what the first few years were like. But I can say that as the years have gone on, that my mom and my stepfather have definitely updated some of their recipes to make them more I'm now vegan, but vegan friendly. So they now look at the ingredients of things and still try to make it to where it was like before, but just substitute in the things that would keep out any type of animal products. So when I have patients or clients that they're the ones that's making the change, I'm like, don't feel pressure. You can just start out and just be the example. Don't be the one that's like yelling at the top of your lungs or trying to beat it into someone else saying, you have to change. Don't eat this. Don't eat that. Don't eat that. Just be the
Yeah.
example and say, this is what I'm eating. If you choose to eat that, then that's fine. But don't try to be judgment over someone else's plate. Okay. I've learned that the hard way, to say the least. But then
Yeah.
when you're actually that example and actually have been that for a long term, like you'll continue on. Again, nobody's journey is perfect, but if you continue on, then your people will start to become inquisitive about what you're doing because they'll see the results of your own health. They'll see you have more energy. They'll see that your health is better. They'll see that you're losing weight. They'll see that you're not as anxious because, eating healthy foods can help with our mental health also. And then
Yeah.
they'll wonder, what are you doing? What can I do differently? And again, I speak from experience because that's kind of what happened as my recipes for my family changed. Like they would say, maybe I won't eat that. Let's see if we can try it this way. But you can just be the one that introduces your family to a healthier option. And they will be thankful that you don't push it on them, but maybe they'll be inquisitive and ask later. And it may not be immediately, it could be years later that they start to ask
Yeah.
questions. But just to know that you are being an example and you're being watched, but not in a bad way. Like they just like, is that actually going to work? And then I'm saying usually 100% of the time it works as long as you continue on, even if you're not 100% perfect. And then they'll be like, okay, I see the difference. And I get comments all the time now, like, oh, I'm gonna start doing better. I saw that video that you did talking about this, or I see what you're eating. I know, oh, Dr. Amanda, don't look at what I'm eating. I'm doing this. And I don't say anything to anyone anymore. I just go about doing my thing, and like people just like they just know, and your presence will just kind of help remind them again, not in a bad way, not in a condemning way, but just in a loving way to actually help them to change. So loving people to change instead of trying to force them to change usually makes a big difference.
Oh, I love that. And it's so true. People are observing us. And when we come at it without judgment, like this is what I'm choosing to do because it's right for me, you
Mm-hmm.
can do whatever you want. I'm not going to judge you. But like you said, they're watching and maybe they will start to take little steps in the direction that we're guiding them or showing them that we're going. And my daughter is vegan. She's 28 and she has she struggled, not to go in the whole story, but she struggled to get enough protein in her diet, and so she started trying to eat chicken. And one of the things she noticed was that it made her stomach hurt so badly. Like when she started just introducing little bits of meat in her diet, her body reacted. It's like her body was so clean and just
Mm-hmm.
so doing so well that when you start to introduce those other things, the body is like, oh no, no, no. And it
Yeah.
reacts, it
It
responds.
does. It does. I tell people that that's so true. Like you will like be doing well for a while and then like you'll start to eat something just like your daughter experienced. You're like your body's like, please don't do that anymore. No, 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 don't go back. Don't go back. And it can give you some negative reinforcement or positive reinforcement. So I hate that your daughter had to experience that, but that is so true that like when we start to kind of slip back, our body will remind us, hey, remember how good I felt when we didn't do this? Let's try to keep that going on. So your body will be your own your own accountability partner.
Right. I am gluten sensitive. I'm not allergic to it. I'm not celiac or anything, but I'm gluten
Mm-hmm.
sensitive. And every time I'm tempted to eat something with gluten, my brain goes, oh, remember how that's going to make you feel. Remember how you
Yes.
won't be able to breathe and that you will be achy and you will have a
Mm-hmm.
headache and all of these things start coming up. And I'm like, yeah, it's not worth it. No,
Yes,
we're not going to
yes.
do that.
Right,
So
right.
it's my body's helping me. Yeah.
Yeah, and it will remind you, like you said, and just and then like I tell people like if it's like a holiday or a special day and you're like, I just love my aunts or my grandmother's X, Y, and Z, and I know I may feel a little bit bad. Like the first, couple of times you may just go ahead and indulge. Like I just know I'm gonna feel bad because I want it. But then after a while, you're
Yeah.
gonna be like, is it really worth that feeling? I don't know. And maybe you'll have less and less till you're like, okay, grandma, let's come up with a different recipe so we both can enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. I know my daughter actually fixed Thanksgiving dinner for us one year. And I was like, oh, it's just like, because the rest of us are not vegan,
Yeah,
but we support her in what she does. And not to beat the vegan to death, here thing,
right.
but I'm just trying to make a point that, so we were supportive. Okay, you fix all the things. We will eat them. We will try them. And it was really good. Like it really, we had to think outside the box and be willing to open our minds to
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
try this. And, we had butternut squash instead of turkey and all of these things instead of the processed. Because here's
Hmm.
another thing, like I'm gluten free. There are all kinds of products out there that are gluten free, but that are heavily processed. And I'm like, no,
Yes.
that is not good for me. And
Hmm.
so you have to be careful in that way too.
Exactly, exactly. So you don't want to exchange one bad habit for another. But with that, like you said, like processed foods, like that's a big thing too. Especially like I said, with the marketing, and we talk about how eating healthier, and they'll market it as a health food. But then when you look at the ingredients, you're like, what is this? I can't make
Yeah.
this in my kitchen. So how in the world is this actually healthy or not? So you just have to be careful with that. And sometimes you can use some of these foods as a transition foods. That's what I call them for people. Or, sometimes foods when you just don't have the time to be able to go all in. And that can actually help you along in your journey so you don't feel like you're always like totally off. And so
Yeah.
look at it more that way, like occasional foods, sometimes foods, or transition foods. Some of these foods that are out there that's being, labeled as healthy. But once you go deeper, and again, I know because of this 3 decade journey of like once you start to look at things and you go a little bit deeper and deeper and deeper, you're like, oh, I was eating that and I thought it was healthy at the time. There's nothing healthy about it. It's fat and sugar only, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. Once, because I did Weight Watchers for a while,
Hmm.
and,
Hmm.
it reminds me of this in a way that I could see where changing your whole health and changing your diet and all of that can be overwhelming. And people are busy and people don't have time for what they already do, much less throwing in a whole new routine or trying to change
Right.
all these foods. And so I love your suggestion of just start small, start with the transition foods. That's a really, really good idea. That's really good.
Yeah. And like you said, it helps it to where it doesn't feel overwhelming. Because another person, when they said this, I was like, oh, I'm still in this, that it can feel like a full-time job that you have for your health if you
Yeah,
don't actually do it. And like, especially for women that have families, we already have like 3 full-time jobs. We don't want another one, right?
right.
So just to know that that's there and it's possible and it's okay to do it. Like you're not failing because you choose to do that option. Again, I know because that's me. There's times I'm like, okay, this is what's going to have to work today. And, next time I'll try something different. But at this point in time, this is going to have to work.
Yeah, yeah, and it is a personal journey. I think people forget that. We kind of mentioned
Hmm.
this already, but it is whatever works for you, however you can fit it in your schedule and make it work for you. Just because, a lot of people just follow a program. They want someone to tell them what to do and what to eat and give them a menu and tell them how to cook it and all of that, which same. Like I want something that I don't have to think about, just follow it, but that sometimes that routine and that menu and all that might not work for your schedule. And I want people to understand that it's okay to alter it. It's okay to change it to make it work for you, because I think people think that if I don't follow it rigidly, it's not going to work. But no,
Yes,
it's not going to work if it doesn't work for your schedule.
exactly. It won't work if you don't work. So that's the thing. And you reminded me of something I just did. Like, I was trying to find like a healthier version of like a fried rice. And so I downloaded this recipe and looked at it, and I'm like, okay, that's going to take too long. That's going to take too long. That's going to take too long. So what can I do? I'm going to get some tofu that's pre-marinated. I'm going to get some frozen veggies. I'm going to get some pre-cooked brown rice, and I'm going to throw this together. And it cut the time in half, but it still turned out great. So I looked at what I could do, transformed it, and still got a healthy meal out of it. So you all can do the same thing. Like I said, you take bits and pieces of what you can do and put it together to make it fit for you, and it'll still turn out great for you. So again, real time, still doing all these things to actually make it work, and it'll be just fine, like you said. And even if you start out with following a program, like I said, I've done all these programs before. Sometimes you need that structure to actually know what to do next. Okay. And then
Yeah.
from there, you can adjust it to your own liking because you don't know what you don't know until you actually do it. And you're like, okay, I did this, this doesn't work, but this did. So I'm going to keep this part of it. Just like I said, putting the puzzle pieces together. But going through the different programs, sometimes you do to pull those puzzle pieces that you need. And again, not that it was a total failure or 100% that it worked, but you just need to pull those pieces that work for you and make your own journey that works.
Oh, absolutely. It's got to work for you or it won't work at all. Pretty much what you said exactly. Gosh, I have loved this conversation. Like, I feel like we could talk about this for a long time because it affects so many people. And I've been there, and my daughter's been there, and I just love this. But I would like for you to share more about what you do, how you help people, and how people can get a hold of you if they want to know more about working with you.
Yes. So my professional career, as you see, I'm Dr. Amanda Adkins, and I am a board certified internal medicine and lifestyle medicine physician. So lifestyle medicine is actually a specialty now, where we actually work on your lifestyle changes. So there's 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine that we focus on, and it is a plant predominant diet, exercise, movement is medicine, decreasing your stress, so stress reduction, restorative sleep to make sure you're sleeping well because that impacts your health, social connections, and avoiding toxic substances. So if we look at it, all those 6 pillars actually impact our health in different ways, but actually can, if they're out of whack, can lead to chronic illnesses. So I'm focused on helping, especially women. I help men too, but I usually like to focus on women because that was me, that was my journey to help women who are overweight prevent and possibly reverse illnesses like high blood pressure and diabetes. And people are like, how did you come up with those two? And I was like, because that's what impacted my family, my grandparents, my grandmothers.
Mhm.
And that's just been, my own conviction to help that population to know that these lifestyle changes can actually change specifically those two aspects of their lives and actually get rid of some of their medications or totally get rid of their medications with actually making these lifestyle changes in their journey. And you can reach me on my website at www.dramandamd.com. I am licensed in 10 states, and you can look at the 10 states on my website that actually can help you as a medical doctor. But I can help anyone in the world if you're just looking for like lifestyle coaching. So if you just like want some information about nutrition itself or anything like that that can impact your health, we can look at that. So yeah, you can look me up on the website and learn all about what I do.
That's amazing. I had no idea there's a lifestyle physician. Is that what you said it's called?
Yeah, lifestyle medicine. It's a
I
whole college, a specialty. They have physicians, they have health coaches, they have pharmacists, they have nurse practitioners, PAs, physical therapists, like all sorts of different actual aspects of medicine, psychologists, psychiatrists that actually take a part of those different 6 pillars and help with people's overall health. But yes, it became a specialty probably in the early 2010s.
hmm,
So yes,
we're taking this seriously. I mean, it
yeah,
does. Lifestyle affects so many things, and I love that they are doing this. Like, I'm
yes.
just feeling so proud right now that,
I
they're taking this so seriously.
I know, and it's funny. I just have to tell you all this story that, like I said, my own journey was basically a lifestyle change, to help, and that I didn't even know there was a thing such as a lifestyle medicine. And I have actually went through my entire medical career, going through the training, and actually was out practicing, and then found lifestyle medicine. I was actually Googling something, and that lifestyle medicine just came up, and I'm like, oh, this is something. What is this? That's how divine it was. Like it wasn't like somebody specifically said,
Wow.
"Oh, you should try lifestyle medicine." No, I was sitting googling something. It's like, oh wow, it's a specialty. Oh wow, I can actually learn the science behind what I've been doing my entire life. And so I just feel like it's been a calling for me. That's why I said it's crazy. Like that's why I was started with the story and always mentioned that my dad was a meat delivery truck driver at the time because it's just like everything in your life works together. And if we look at if anyone of there you're a guest look at their own life, you'll see how everything, just kind of pulls together and you're like, that's interesting how at that moment in time it would lead to, something I'm doing now. So it's just
It It
Crazy.
is that timing piece. Like it just literally will fall in your lap. I have had that experience where opportunities just fall in my lap and I'm like, just say yes. Like I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna say yes and go with this, and it turns into
Exactly.
something amazing and just so cool. I do want to ask because this struck me when you're going through the pillars, you said one of them was mostly plant-based foods. That doesn't mean vegan, right? You don't
That
have to
is
be
right.
vegan.
So I get that question a lot. Like,
Yeah.
what is the difference between plant-based and veganism? So veganism is a different calling. Like they have no type of animal-based products, but they still can do processed foods. Okay, so that's a big difference. But then they also take it to a different step to where they really big on animal rights and things of that nature. So even like their clothing or materials, anything that they use may be related to that. But as far as the health piece, I always tell people that that can include processed foods. So in lifestyle medicine, we try to focus on eating whole foods, and it's a plant
Mhm.
predominant diet to where most of your foods are plants and most of the foods are whole foods because that's the biggest difference. And that's why earlier I threw in that marketing piece of like it'll say, this is a plant-based ice cream or plant-based candy, something like that that's really not healthy. Like I said, I was looking at stuff and it's like fat and sugar, which is not the
Right.
health benefits that you're looking for when we're talking about a plant-based diet. We're talking about, our fruits and vegetables and whole grains, lentils and beans and things of that nature that you'll be eating them more of nuts and seeds, not the plant-based ice cream. And I use that again because how do I know? That's me, plant-based ice cream. So again, my journey started with just removing things, but now I'm really trying to focus on people and adding in those foods that actually have been proven to actually make the health benefit.
I love that you brought that up because so many people, when they think about making lifestyle changes for their health and for being their weight loss or whatever for to make their bodies healthier, instantly they think, I'm not going to be able to eat this. I'm not going to be able to eat this. They're going to have to remove all of these things
Mm-hmm.
and that they're going to suffer and it's going to be miserable. But I think they don't understand all of the other things that they're missing, that they don't know that they're going to be adding to their diet. That, yeah, they may miss the pizza or whatever, but there are so many other things that they'll be adding that they won't really be hungry and that they don't have to
Yes.
be vegan. Those
Right,
of you
right.
watching and listening, you don't have to be vegan.
Right, exactly. That's it. That's why I tell people just add in more plants to your diet. That's what you can do. Add in more plants. That is always the first step that I have people do. So that way you don't feel deprived. You don't feel like you're missing out. Because I feel like that's what really causes people not to actually stick with a plan or stick with their health and wellness goals because they feel so restricted. They're like, I miss, like I said, my pizza. Well, hey, maybe you want to make a veggie pizza and you can go with that, so you can make ways, like I said, find a recipe, make it your own, and you can actually continue to move forward. So it's not, you don't have to be in a box. So just
Yeah.
be free in your health. That's what we want. Like, so we don't want you to be free unhealthy. We want you to be free in health.
Yeah, and it's so doable. Like I think
Yes.
people just don't know what the options are. They're just scared of even trying because all they've
Mhm.
heard is the bad things and the things they don't get to do.
Right.
But yeah, it can be a beautiful, beautiful process.
Yes. And again, the when you feed your body the fuel that it needs, it will be that positive reinforcement where you like feel better. Like I've seen patients in as little as like 4 to 5 days, just like eating more whole foods. You're like, I didn't realize how tired I was until I actually felt better, or I'm sleeping so much better now. Like it's just like those things, and you're like, I don't want to go back. So that's when I was talking about like having your grandmother's, pie or something like that. You're like, okay, I feel this way, and then I felt, down and groggy. And then you're like, do I really want that? Do I really want that feeling? Because I know that that's what happens when I feel so much better. And that just keeps you moving forward. Again, you can make the choice at that time, but then over time, you're like, it's probably not worth it. I can probably try to find this recipe and make it a little bit healthier. And I still get the taste I want without the feeling of, grogginess and feeling tired and down.
Yeah, yeah, it's so true. So true. Oh my gosh, this has been such a good conversation. Dr. Amanda, thank you so much for being here, for taking the time to share this with us, and for offering all of this for our listeners and those watching. Is there anything that you'd like to say before we wrap up here?
I always just like to leave people with two things. One is you cannot out exercise a bad diet, and then add in more vegetables to every single meal.
Oh, you can't out exercise a bad diet. Is that what you said?
Yes.
You can't out exercise a bad diet. Wow. Okay, I'm sitting with that one for a minute. Like that one's
I
hitting
had
me.
to too. That was something that was placed in my spirit, like when I first started on my journey. So I say that because when I told you my story, that exercise was the first step that I did to change my health. And so when I heard someone say that, that stuck with me throughout the decades. That okay, I can exercise, but if I don't, fuel my body well, the exercising is not going to pay off like I want it to.
Wow, I love that. That's so powerful. Yeah, so good. All right, my brain is like, what? It's stuck. My brain is stuck. So, yeah, we can do it, brain. Come on, come on. Thank you again for being here and for sharing all of this with us. And I hope the listeners and those watching reach out to you and help support what you're doing. If you're watching or if you're listening, please share this to help get Dr. Amanda's message out there so that we can help the rest of us learn to be healthy and be healthier people and just help. It helps humanity. It helps the environment. It helps so many things. And I'm just so grateful for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed talking to you today.
Yeah, me too. All right, those of you watching and listening, thank you for tagging along. And until next time, I will be here holding space for you. Thank you for being here. And to my guest, thank you for your honesty, your courage, and your truth. It's an honor to hold space for people like you. If something in this episode stirred something in you, if you breathed deeper, softened, or felt a pull inward, consider this your invitation. Whether you're ready to share publicly or prefer to remain anonymous, I'd love to hold space for you too. This work isn't just for podcasts, it's for people everywhere. And I'm bringing it into businesses, schools, communities, organizations, anywhere humans need a place to be and for someone to hold space for them. To learn more or to schedule your own session or to be a guest on this podcast, visit www.getamyshelp.com or just reach out to me. I'll meet you with open arms and a quiet, sacred seat. Until next time, thank you for being beautifully, unapologetically human.